All right, we are live. We are live right now. What's up, everybody? What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Kava podcast. You guys already know who I am. My name is Will. I'm the host of this show. Man, I am very excited today. I am very excited. I have a very special guest. It's one of our Polynesian sisters all the way from Victoria, Australia.
Hey.
And she a TikTok star. She one of the Polynesian TikTok stars out there. I just had to throw it out there. I know she's humble. I know she doesn't like the spotlight, but I got to throw her some love. I'm sorry I had to put the spotlight on you real quick. I have to hype you up. But I have a very special guest today. First and foremost, just want to say I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for taking the time to join me on this show and have a chance to listen to your life story. So I'm very excited to have her to share your life story with everybody. Everybody that's watching this for the first time tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. I just want to ask you to show some love and support. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And for everybody out there that's been showing so much love and been watching all my videos and sending me so much love and support, thank you so much. That positive feedback always inspires me and keeps me fired up to keep doing this. And of course, as you're watching, please don't be afraid. Share some thoughts. I'd like to hear your feedback. Drop a comments. Share your comments below. But like I said, let's get back to our special guest. I'm excited to hear her story. Let's do it. But I'll let her introduce herself real quick. So go ahead. It's all you.
First of all, guys, I want to thank you guys for even listening in, as well as being here to join me and Will on this amazing podcast. But for those who don't know me, my name is Daisy Maepu. I am 20 years old. I turned 21 this year. I know, the big 21.
Nice.
I'm Samoan. I know, growing. That's the island legal years. I'm Samoan, and honestly, for me, I'm honestly honored to be able to speak out today, especially with everyone here. And I hope that I can share some positivity as well as some insight for everyone.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, like I said, Daisy, thank you so much. Much love to you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm excited to hear your story today. And I know everybody's excited. So let's get this show started. I guess the very first question I'm going to ask you real quick to start off the podcast is, how did you grow up?
How did I grow up? For me, so I grew up with only sisters. There is, I think that there's 6 of us.
It's all
and
girls?
It's just all girls. Yeah, all girls, no boys. My dad was the only guy in the family. So that was a handle. I'm sorry, not a handle, a handful. It was a handful being in a house full of just girls and just one male in the family. Obviously, I've got 2 older half sisters who I never grew up with, but we would always see from time to time. So it was just me, my twin sister, who we are the eldest, as well as our younger sisters. So growing up, being just surrounded by females, obviously one person had to be the male or the son of the family, just to give dad his company and give dad his chance of growing up with a boy. Unfortunately, that was me. That was me. But growing up, being able to have experience with both sides, so girls and boys, it gave me an insight of what it was like for culture wise. For girls, I was taught at a young age to be proper, only speak when you've been spoken to. Don't watch what you say. Always be ready to serve and clean all the time. But on the other side, being able to be the son of the family, like my family taught me that as a boy, be fun, literally be loud, and to always be protective as well, especially for my younger sisters and family wise. But then sometimes you get trapped in the middle because you don't know, okay, which one do I have to be? Do I have to be the quiet, respectful Tene Samoa, or do I have to be the strong and always protective, Tama Samoa? So you got stuck, especially at a young age, you were very confused on what was actually allowed at a certain time. Like, sometimes where I was meant to be proper, I wasn't. I was dancing and I was not wearing what I was meant to be wearing and saying things I wasn't, because I thought that it was okay. I was like, oh, because I'm the son of the family, I don't care. But really, no. Yeah. But yeah, growing up, I think you learn through childhood of what's right and what's wrong. But then, it depends on how it's taught. And obviously, how it's taught is not by the Balingi way of just saying. It was taught by hidings and hidings.
Yep.
Yeah. But it was good that I was the one getting that. So at least my sisters who are looking up to me learned, okay, don't do that or else you're going to get hiding like Daisy. Or, don't say that or else you're going to get in trouble like Daisy. But yeah, I guess it's allowed me to, find who I really am today.
Okay. So which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer? Do you like a combination of both boy and girl, or do you pick and choose every day, or you wake up every day, okay, which one I will be today?
which gender will I be today? Honestly, I like that I can do both. I can do both where, some days I'll wake up with like a mean attitude. And so I'll be like, should I be a girl and be stubborn today? Or should I just be a guy and just be like, But no, like both is completely good, because if with the experience of like the Tama Samoa side, I'm able to be out there and make friends. If I was just a Te Samoa, I'd be stuck inside, serving and just following the rules and not being able to actually experience life. So like I feel like it's very limited. So
So I want to ask you, because I feel like I know you said that you grew up and then they taught you to be the gender role of Polynesian girls to be proper. I think if you're Polynesian right now, you're a girl, and you all know this, you all relate to this. You guys know what we're talking about, right? So you all relate. But I know for me, like even when I grew up with my siblings, we at an early age, like we were given our roles of how we're supposed to act and how we're supposed to live. The girls, they stayed at home, they stayed inside the house, cook, clean, whatever. And of course, in the islands where I grew up in Tonga, we lived out. So the boys were outside. Like so we lived outside the main house, and then our parents didn't really care what we did. We just let us free. We went around. Run.
Run.
The only time they just like the only time they needed the only time they needed us is when they called us. Hey, they needed something to do, but they didn't really focus on what we did. But just looking back, and there was a lot of attention and focus on making sure that the girls behave properly. And then because I remember growing up, if I behave properly, my parents was the boys. It's what boys do. But I remember my sisters, especially it's funny, we talk about hiding, and we get disciplined. I remember I just kind of introspect looking back, like my sisters would probably get a little bit more hidings or more intense hidings for the same things that we did. But I didn't really think about it, as a child growing up. But now looking back and just talking to a lot of Polynesian women that they're going through it. But I think I love what you said, to be clean, to be proper, to serve. And I know you said that you love experiencing life. I can just tell by your personality, like you like to go experience life.
Yep.
Have fun. And it's not, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. So and just put it out there for everybody out there. So if you if you're a polyandrous woman and you love being at home and you love cooking and serving, cleaning, and that's what makes you happy, hey, do you, boo? Like, do you
Exactly.
hey, do you? And then of course, if you love being outside, having fun and experiencing life and be the you're a free spirit, hey, much love to you as well. Keep doing it.
Exactly.
But I want to ask you something because I feel like I've seen both sides of just based on my observation, but I feel like when it comes to like our growth as people, as individuals, because I've gone through my own personal growth journey for my life to be a better man. But I feel like you have to experience things. Like I feel like that's part of the journey. That's part of growth. Like you have to put yourselves out there. You have to put yourself out there. You have to make mistakes. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. That's where we learn.
Yeah.
And I feel like experiencing life is part of the natural order of human evolution to grow, to be like the best version of yourself, right? And I feel like sometimes that our role, the gender roles that we, the things we teach young women, girls, to kind of force that into them, that like there's one on they just force that, allowing you to be themselves to pick, like, hey, do you want to be a housewife, or do you want to go and be like Daisy and go experience the world? All right. I feel like that's sometimes, because I've heard from girls like, that are like you, that they're outgoing, they're energetic, and then they want to go experience life, but then they feel trapped at home. And they can't, and I feel like, because for me, like, not only with this podcast, but I want people to be happy. And I feel like you can't, and I don't know if you want to jump in any time, but I feel like you can't truly be happy if you're not growing and if you're not progressing in your life. Agree. Because I feel like if you're not growing, you're like, that's old saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. Like, if you're not growing, like, it doesn't matter what phase, part of your life. I feel like you can't really be happy. And I mean, you can portray you're happy. You can be at home and cook and clean with a happy smile.
With smile, really deep inside.
And then you go home and then you go to the room.
just cry in your pillow so no one can hear you.
All right, exactly, right. So I see this a lot. Not only for women, but men too. Because like men, we can have a discussion about that. Like we have to be masculine, we have to be strong, we have to be, we have to be that strong foundation for the family. But yeah, so I want to ask you, you are here today is because of all the things you went through. And can you share some experiences that so you can talk about, you just growing and not falling into that role of, just staying home and serving and cooking, cleaning. But I want to ask, what are things in your life that you found out by yourself, and you only found out about good qualities, the great things about you, but you only found that version of you, or you found that thing, that quality of you because you experienced a life. And because I want people to hear this, because there's certain things in life that you can't really learn until you experience it. And I feel like that, your poly parents, like, I know why we have these roles for women, to protect you guys, they don't want you guys going out there and being buck wild and so I know that. So I understand our parents' perspective. They want to keep their daughters home so they're safe. They're not, they don't go out there and end up getting pregnant early. So like I know why they have those limited rules. But I feel like there's a better way to do. I feel like there's a better way to do it. We can still have boundaries for them to protect them, but at the same time, you're not hindering their growth and allowing them to experience life and be happy, and not only be happy, but they can find out who they are, and they can find out, and they can go to be the best. So if you can just share your experience with with that growing up, and then realizing, I'm sure there was a point. I'm sure for you there was a point of time like. You were probably cooking, cleaning, and like, this ain't for me. I can probably see. I can see you. I can see, yeah, this ain't for me. And you're looking at the window. I'm gonna jump to that window. I'm going. But can you talk about that? When you realize, when you start having the awareness, like, no, this is not me. And then also, and then you went out there and experienced life, and I'm sure you probably got some trouble doing it, but you don't regret it because there's a lot of things that you learned about yourself that you became who you are because you want to experience it. I feel like a lot of girls need to hear this. So can you can you talk about that?
Of course. So it obviously took time. I would honestly say that I didn't fully get to live the life I live now until like a year or 2 years ago. So like when I was just 18 or 19.
Yeah.
So from like getting to where I am now, it took time, such as we were at a family house, so like kongai and all that. And it was like, for girls, you knew, like you didn't even have to think twice when you had to get up to go start cleaning, when you had to get up to go start preparing the meai, like the food and stuff. And it's when it hit me when I was just sitting there, and then I just got up and I just walked to the kitchen to get the stuff ready. And then I just thought, I'm like, imagine if I didn't get up. Like, imagine if I didn't, if me and my cousins didn't get up, who would actually do it? Like, will they eat? Will the mess just sit here? like I used to think, like, it's like no one, like none of the, like my elders, because obviously the elders will not do anything. None of the elders they'll just wait for us to do things, and they wouldn't appreciate us at the end of it. I think that's what hit us the most, is when, don't appreciate us. I mean, I get it. We're not meant to be doing it for praise and anything. I mean, that's completely obvious. But it's just, it's a routine that we get into that, we would like to be acknowledged. And I think that's what a lot of island kids, or, islanders in general, lack now. Like we don't get acknowledgement, we don't get to hear the word, oh, thank you so much for doing that, or, thank you so much for helping. So I got up and I was like, imagine if I didn't get up. So then I slowly took my time in serving on purpose. I moved like a sloth, and obviously you have to be quick because they're hungry. I was a sloth. I was just like, and I didn't smile. I did put on an attitude because I just wanted to see what it would do. And obviously it did exactly what I thought would happen. My mum would say, oh, why are you doing it like that? You shouldn't be, showing an attitude in the food, or else no one will want to eat because of you. And you're like, okay, so then you come serve yourself then. Like, obviously that's not what I would say. But it's just like, so then why am I doing it for you? If it's not for me, then who's it for? Yes, I get it. I have to serve you guys to eat, but then, like, come on, like, there's thousands of guys right there, and there's like 4 of us girls, and we have to feed all of you guys with everything. But it's more like I had to take a small step every single time. I didn't want to push myself off the edge, or else I would not be here today. But yeah, like, it wasn't just, it was when I was actually within my family where I realized this routine needs to change. Like, I don't want to be stuck in it.
So how did you what did you do? Like, when you realized, okay, this is not something I feel like I'm not who I am is my natural self. Like, when did you just start going out that mode and just kind of
I think it was around, like, after I finished high school. I actually, like, me and my sister, we actually sat down with our parents, as scary as it was. We actually waited till they were in a happy mood, and went in the living room, sat on the floor, and actually, like, spoke. And we just voiced it to them that, as much as we love helping and we understand our roles as Samoan girls, like, I'm glad that we know exactly what to do in these type of situations, you know, because we need it for our families and all. But, you know, we want to be able to go and experience life outside as well. Because, I mean, when I'm with my friends, eating, which was barely ever, I clean up after them. And they let me do that. Let me do that. And they don't even say anything. Because it's stuck in my mind that I have to do that.
Yeah, it's conditioned.
And
You're
so
being conditioned that way.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's you look at it and you're like, okay, so if I would do this to friends, if I would do this to family, who else will I be doing that to? If I go into a workplace, who else will I be bending backwards for? You know? And I just literally sat there and I told them that, and explained that, you know, we need to experience more than just knowing how to clean, or, you know, more than just these four walls. You know, I want to know what other girls are doing. I want to know what other boys are doing.
Yeah.
I was being kind of kiki, and I was like, I want to go see boys, you know. I want to see what, like, you know, what else is there. And it took them a while. Like, it did take them a while.
How did they respond? Like, when you...
They first thought, well, this is their first answer was, why do you want to be like everyone else? Why do you want to be like Balangese? Like, that's not Samoan. You don't want to be Samoan anymore. All right, then go, you know. But then when they actually stopped and listened, then they, you know, they did say, okay, I mean, you guys are not going to be our kids forever. You're not going to be young forever. And it took them a while to then realize that, you know, if we don't experience things now, when we grow older, we're not going to know what to do. Like, especially like if we have a family, we don't know what to do.
So the whole thing you were talking to your parents, like, you guys just want to go and experience things for yourself.
Experience things for ourselves, and, you know, not be just seen as the serving plates or serving waitresses all the time.
All right. So they gave you the green light after that?
Yeah. That will, after a while, it was orange, and then it went green.
It was red.
It was orange. Red and then orange. Stayed orange for a long while. And then it went green.
It went green. All right. So what happened when it went green? I want to know. So what was like the first?
Oh, what did we do?
So what was the first thing you did? What was the first thing you did? Talk about the things you did when you became green. You know, you get the green light. You went out there, and I'm interested to hear. You know, how did you feel? You know, how did you feel like being free for the first time and going out there for the first time? And also like, how did you feel? And then also like, what things did you learn about yourself by going out there?
When it actually happened, the first thing we did was, it was one of our friends at school. It was his birthday. It was his 18th, I would say. It was his 18th. And obviously this would have been the very first party we would be going to. So we finally asked, and he said yes, and we went. And I swear, it was actually the best. It was the very first party, and it was one of the best, because I got to, you know, be surrounded with people. And, you know, the moment we walked in, you should have seen everyone's faces. They were all like, oh my gosh, Daisy and Dorothy, you're here. Oh my God. And they asked, are your parents, did they
Do
say
they know?
And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I was shocked myself. But yeah, and I was happy. Like, I didn't know how much fun I could actually have when I just let loose, because I didn't have to worry about what my parents were thinking, because they gave me the green light, you know, they let me be free. One thing I did learn was that I was not a great dancer that night. I don't drink, or I wasn't drunk, and I don't drink. But people would think that I was drunk, but with the way I was dancing.
Was there a curfew that night, or were you just, whenever you guys done, you went home?
So my parents said curfew was 10. So we called my dad to pick us up at 10 on the dot, because we were like, should we just push it to 10:30? We're like, no, I can't. I'd feel so much stress. But yeah, and like when we got into the car, we were worried about what like my dad would say. He'd what's the lecture gonna be? But nah, he was like, oh, did you guys have fun? Why didn't you guys stay later? You guys could have just called us. I thought it was a trap, that could have been just a trap, to see what we'd say. But, we were just like, oh, no, it's okay. We had fun. We wanted to come home anyways. Really, we didn't. We wanted to, like, dance the night off. Okay. But, yeah, at least it was just the first sign. We're like, okay, like, we're finally getting some ground here with our parents. Okay.
So, yeah, so I'm always interested, and I'm glad you had fun. I think that's,
yeah.
I can hear it, but just from your voice when you talked about it, just reliving that experience. So I want to ask you, so okay, now you have a chance to go out there. Did you like, okay, what was like the next phase? Okay, now you can go out and have fun and parties. What else can you do? What for you to push yourself and experience life?
The next one was it was just more parties, but then now being able to go out at night and stay over at a friend's house.
Yeah.
Obviously my parents would have need to know who the person was. And these people, like, they knew already, because like we grew up with them in high school. But they would only let us stay with them because they knew of them. But we were never allowed to just stay at someone's house, or be out that late, like as in past 12.
Yeah.
So that was the next phase. Obviously the next morning they would come pick us up at like 7 a.m. even though like we're tired. 7 a.m. There would be a lecture in the car when they would ask, like, why did you guys go to sleep so late? Why did you guys get home so late? What do their parents think of yous? Like, I think they were still stuck there, like, oh, what do like other families think of my daughters now that we're letting them do this? And that's one thing that you're just like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's
all right,
like,
so I remember I asked you before, like, now you had a chance to go out there and really experience life and meet new people, because I feel like that's the thing, like, I think life is all about meeting new people, because that's how we learn, that's how we connect with people. I think like meeting new people is really important to your life, but now just look, like, what are things that I think I mentioned before, like what are things within yourself, within your personality, within your own character, that you started to find about yourself as you did this more often, that you never felt like you had, that I either had, but maybe you were suppressing it, but now you like, maybe you're, so I'm interested to hear like that version of yourself that started to come out, that was always in you, but now it's because you finally going out there and experience life.
Yeah. I think one major one was that, when you're being stuck in the house and being told that you have to act a certain way, there's also that part where you also have to keep silent. Just, if something happens, just ignore and just keep quiet. But then once we started going out more, obviously you experience people treating others bad. If you're in a public place and then someone is being, racist or mean, or, at first I would keep my mouth shut, because I'm just like, oh, it's none of your business. Don't start trouble and all. But then when we finally got our freedom, we were like, no, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
And, you start to stick up for others, but then you also start to stick up for yourself.
Mm.
Like I used to be scared just to go return something that was like ruined, even though I bought it. Just then. Whereas now I'm just like, yeah, I'll take this back. I'll get my money back. Obviously, I wouldn't be a Karen about it, but I would actually be able to speak up for myself and actually, be able to hold my ground and voice my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I do know that you have a YouTube. I know you do TikTok and you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So how did that come along? And like, what what inspired you to like to put really take that step and really put yourself out there?
Yeah. If anything, like growing up, I loved like, being on film or taking pictures and stuff like that. And YouTube was always the best. Like I would be on there all the time.
Yeah.
I always wanted a YouTube channel, or I always wanted, a social media platform, but I didn't know how to start. The main reason being was that because there wasn't many Islanders on there that like that everyone knew, or like everyone was like, oh yeah, I know them from Instagram, or I know them from YouTube.
Yeah.
Like the gap in the industry is like very, very massive.
Yeah.
So I was too scared to do so because I'm like, oh, because no one else is. But then I think I had to convince myself, well, if you don't start, who you may never start because someone else may never do it for you. So then, if anything, TikTok started because it was a joke. It was a joke. It was all because of one video where I joked around about using this audio and saying that the guy you hook up was your cousin.
Yeah.
And it was good to see Islanders get the humor behind it.
Yeah.
And being able to actually like recognize me and be like, oh yeah, that's so funny, or like, oh my gosh, we all know how that feels, this and that. So I think that was like, oh, I think I'm so stuck in the mind that I have to follow all of these American or all of these famous YouTubers, when really I just need to focus on myself and what makes me, which is my culture, and the humor behind it. So then I just started working off of that.
Okay. I know you, and I know you talked about like I know when you shared to your parents about want to go outside and experience the life. I know what they said. It was like, why do you want to be different? Why do you want to go? Why do you want to be like Balangis? So I kind of want to talk about that because I feel like that's something I see a lot. Within our culture is like because they all want us to do all our women to be a certain way. We all want all our men to be a certain way, and to be different and to be and do something else is always like criticized instead of empowered. Because I feel like right, like and I feel like part of being happy is accepting who you are. I feel like you can't be happy if you can't be yourself. Exactly. But I feel like that's one of the main struggles that we all go through, especially within our generation, where a lot of kids, Polynesian kids, struggle because like they can't really just be themselves and be act, have their and reveal their natural personality and their own interests and what they feel like it's comfort for them. But because as soon as they step outside that lane, it's automatic, criticism
like
and
disrespect and all.
Disrespect. Or they're like, oh, you want to be, you're not Samoan. Like you said, you don't want to be Samoan. No, you don't want Samoan no more. I've heard that too. I've heard that too in my own life. Like because when I started, just we're not caring what people think no more. Because I realized like I wanted to be myself. I was tired of like hiding myself and pretending like to be like everybody else and do what people and to please like people. I was a people pleaser. Just trying to please people. But then I was like, I'm pleasing everybody. But the thing is like, I'm not happy. And of course, like the people I can't please. I try to please everybody, but I still hear people say negative things. I was like, what? And And I just realized I can't just, I guess you just mature to the point, like you realize like you can't please everyone. No matter how much you do, the best thing you do is just please yourself and make sure you're content and happy with yourself. So I want to ask you, as you're going, trying to figure out who you are, and I'm interested to hear like the things that you do, or that a lot of people may criticize you, or things you love, your interests, your hobbies, your goals, or whatever. That's just what you like to do because that's who you are and that's what makes you happy. But they can often be, be scrutinized by your community and make it seem like that you're not Samoan. And I think I had a conversation with somebody from like, we talked about this topic, and we said that we're proud. We're all proud. I'm sure you're proud Samoan. I'm a proud Tongan. We should we be proud of we should be proud of being Tongan and being Samoan. But at the same time, we should be proud of what makes us unique as Tongans, as Samoans, if that makes sense. Be I love my culture. I love, I'm proud of who I am and where I come from. I take pretty proud of it. But at the same time, I'm also proud of what makes me different as a Tongan. And I don't want to be fall into that stereotype of what I should be, because I feel like I can be, it's okay to be more, to be different. Yeah. I feel like that's something that we definitely need to encourage more for a lot of people, especially if you're watching this. I want you guys all know that it's okay to be different. It's okay to to do things that a lot of people may seem that you may think you're weird or weird or be different, but it's okay. So can you talk about the things in your life of what you do, and then maybe a lot of people may think it's too balangi, maybe people might think it's you're weirdo, or it's not Samoan. That's not what Samoans do. But that's just something that you love to do, and I'm sure to the fact now that you kind of accepted that, and then you don't care what people think no more.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of it would be what I wear. Yeah. What I wear now is what I'm wearing right now is fine. Yeah. But then when I go out, if it's if I want to wear a certain outfit that obviously shows a lot more skin, I'm gonna wear it. Yeah. And obviously not everyone's going to be happy with that, especially in the island community. When you're walking around and you see an islander family or you see islander elders, they don't even have to be Samoan. They can be another part of the islands. Yeah, yeah. And the look that they'll give you is as if you've just been disowned. And it makes you feel it kind of makes you feel like small, because you're they don't like that, so I need to cover up because they don't like that. Or especially when they're with their families, because I know my mum used to do this a lot. If a different girl was wearing exactly what I was wearing, she would say it to us when the girl wasn't around. She would say, I don't want you guys dressing up like that. I don't want you guys ever leaving the house like that. Yeah. And growing up, you're like, oh my God, that must be really bad. Yeah. But now you just have to literally go out there and be like, I'm wearing it, not you. Yeah. It's for me. And if anything, I think kids who also are being told don't wear this and that because that girl's wearing it, or don't wear this and that because it's showing too much skin. If you want to, and it's completely up to you. If you want to, you can definitely go ahead and do it, because it's your body, it's your life. Yes, you're not gonna wear obviously you're not gonna go out and wear practically nothing. But even just a crop shirt, they'll criticize. Wear it, because there's nothing that's gonna stop them from you actually wearing it. But yes, they'll get pissed off, but then they'll move on. It's not like the world's gonna end. That's just one day that they'll forget in 20 minutes. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, just I want to ask you, because I've heard this from a lot of Polynesian women, because there's so much emphasis on how you're supposed to look as a Polynesian girl, I feel like that, that I feel like that it doesn't, because I know like I guess the culture, what the reason why they have it, you know, why they're so, I guess, say strict on what you wear, because like they have this image of what a Polynesian girl should look like. So so I understand where they're coming from, because like they want Polynesian women to look beautiful and look respectful, and then just pride, you know, what they want. But I feel like the way I feel like the way they teach it, and the way they encourage it to their kids is not in a positive way, but actually in a negative way, where it doesn't really empower women to feel beautiful. It doesn't really empower women to be proud of being a beautiful Tongan woman. It actually does a reverse effect. And because if you're constantly telling your kids, don't wear this, don't wear this, doesn't look bad, or doesn't look, or it's not good on you. And I feel like that just creates you to always like, okay, am I like, wonder if you're good enough to wear anything, or like just kind of be, or you start feeling insecure about what you wear, or like, I feel like you're never beautiful enough to the standards that they place. So can you share? And I mean that's just me, just kind of do based on my observation, but I'm not a woman, so I don't really know. But that's why I want to ask you, because you've gone through it. Can you share your thoughts, like growing up, and did you ever feel like at times like, oh my God, like am I beautiful enough? And having issues with you, start being insecure of your own body, and like and you kind of like, and then because they always bring that up, like I see there's a lot of moms do that. Hey, you know what you said, like don't be like that girl, right? Don't be this girl. Or if they see a girl that they want to look like, see, that's the girl you want to be like. You know, they do that all the time.
Yeah,
and
they
I feel
do.
like see, that's the one right there. Be like her. And I feel like that, you know, you're creating a mindset, a negative mindset for them to always compare themselves. And I feel like, and for me, you know, just when I went through my own self-love journey and understanding my mindset, like comparison is always like the key to sadness if you're always comparing yourself, you know. So yeah, did you ever? So I'm interested to hear your thoughts, like growing up, and because there was all that, like you just talked about how you grew up, and then like how did you feel, like, you know, how did, like, honestly to ask, like how did you really feel about your confidence in your body, in your beauty, growing up, and like, you know, if you want to mind sharing that with everybody, like how did you really, as far as go ahead.
So when I, like, growing up, like I was a pretty scrawny kid, like I was pretty bony, and like I would be told, oh, you're so skinny, like, oh my gosh, are you eating? And as a kid I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so, like I never wanted to show my arms. I never wanted to wear something so tight, because then I can see how stick I look. And then as I grew, obviously when I got my like womanly body, then they would say, oh, you're looking big, oh my gosh, your hips are looking bigger, your shoulders are looking broader, and still, and even then I would be like, okay, I went from I'm too skinny, now I'm too wide, or I'm too big, and then like you realize, like, like no one's never gonna be happy, especially with what you're gonna, you know, what you look like. And I think especially now, like with Islander families, and I hear it all the time, especially with my cousins, comparison is such a big thing. Like when me and my cousins walk into the house with my nana and them, my nana, she's old school, of course she's gonna, you know, be stuck with her old mindset. She'll see my cousin, who's obviously, she's bigger than me, you know, she's bigger than me. She will always say, she would always say, oh my gosh, look at you and look at Daisy, like you're getting bigger and it looks like Daisy's not, like, you know, you're like 3 times of her. And like, to me, I'm like, that's so mean. Like, why would you say that? And like in front of me, in front of her. And like my cousin was just like, oh, Nana, stop. But really, I'm like, I know you're hurt because I'm hurt for you as well. There's a lot of comparisons, like even when I'm just sitting there eating, like my uncle would just be like, oh, look how skinny you are, I wish my daughter was like that, eat more, and I'm just like, Okay. Yeah, it's the mindset on the perfect Danish Samoa was, having a really good body as well. But I mean, if you think about it, in our island cultures, we never really had a perfect body.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly was this perfect body?
Well, there is no perfect body.
Exactly. There's no such thing. So I don't know. So I don't understand where this image came from and what exactly it is. Because if I were to ask someone, okay, what's your perfect image of the perfect island girl? They would say something completely different to someone else. So it's like, okay, so which one do you want us to be? You know? No, you don't actually know because there's no such thing.
Yeah. So did you was there ever a point in time where, like, where you didn't feel like you were beautiful, and then you started doing things to make yourself look beautiful? Because I feel like sometimes we go through that phase where, like, we start doing things just because, not because we want to, it's just because we just feel like we're not beautiful enough. Did you ever go through that? You ever go through that phase?
Yeah. Still in high school. A lot of these were in high school. I used to, like, my hair's not straight. It's like wavy.
Yeah.
I used to straighten my hair every day because my parents would always say, "Oh my God, you got really thick hair," and I wanted to be like the white girls with the straight hair,
Yeah.
I wanted people to be able to run their fingers through my hair, not get stuck halfway. Or like in like my final year of high school, I finally got I was finally allowed to wear makeup, which was just like mascara.
Yeah.
And I would never go a day without mascara. I would feel so insecure and so ugly if I didn't have mascara in my eyes.
Yeah.
And if my hair wasn't straightened or if my hair wasn't styled, I hated my hair in a bun. I hated it, even though my parents I hated it in a bun and a plait. And obviously that's what Islander parents wanted your hair to be like, in a bun and a ponytail or in a plait, and obviously a tight one as well. I hated it. If I knew my mom was at home, I would not wear mascara. I would put my hair in a braid, a low braid, and then go to school and then take it out straight away, go to the bathroom, put mascara on. Because and I would do that early in the morning. I would tell my parents to take me to school early because I've got to go to the library. But really it was because I don't want people to see me in this state, because I don't want them to see me as ugly.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, whatever.
Like, damn, you're pretty extreme. Damn, you want to just waking up extra early just to do that?
Literally, I'm like, I need to go to the library. But really, I'm like in the bathroom trying to like straighten out my hair with my fingers, like putting mascara on. It was, yeah.
So I'm interested to hear, like, when did you just, at what point of time did you just like realize, you know what, I'm gonna love myself, and I don't care what people say, I'm gonna feel beautiful. I don't know if you, I mean, have you got to that point, or you still battle with those insecurities now, or have you got to a point right now where, like, you just wake up and walk outside and go to the grocery store and not worry about what
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm interested to hear, because I feel like like, are you at that point now in your life where you're pretty confident who you are and what you look like, or do you still battle with that right now? It's just like here and there.
I will be honest, like I'm still learning to love myself. Like I will admit, when I go to work, I do want to be wearing makeup, or I do want to have my hair nicely done. But I feel like it's not more because I don't feel confident enough if I'm not wearing it. It's more because, like, I still want to be presentable.
Yeah.
But like actually loving my own body, still learning that. Because if anything, like right now, I hate my body. I don't hate it. I just don't appreciate it as much as others do when they look at me. Like right now, when I look at myself, I see broad shoulders, like my island broad shoulders that a lot of guys say, oh my God, island girls have such big shoulders. And that's literally when I look at myself, that's all I see. Broad shoulders. Nothing else.
It's called the I don't know if you know in psychology, it's called the spotlight the spotlight effect. It means that
the spotlight effect.
Yeah, it means that when you have insecurities, you're gonna spotlight certain things about yourself that you're insecure about, and then you feel like that as soon as you walk out that door, everybody's looking at it.
Yeah,
even
literally.
It's like this. Like, give me a perfect example. This happens to me all the time. Like, you know, when you wear a white shirt, and then you know, I have a nice clean white shirt, and then I get like a little stain on it, like a stain on my white shirt. Now in my mind, oh my god, everybody's looking at that stain.
Oh yeah.
because it's a white shirt, and then I just feel like, oh my god, as soon as I'm gonna meet people, they're gonna look at that stain and probably ask me like, how come there's a stain in the white shirt? But then you go out there and talk to people. Most people came and don't even see it, but it's just in my mind. I feel, and then if somebody does look down, or even if somebody looks in that general area, oh my god, he's looking at my stain. But that's the thing. But you drive yourself nuts, crazy, and then you realize like nobody doesn't even care about that stain on their shirt. So it's the same way. But we do the same thing with our insecurities. When you're really insecure, we put a spotlight on it, and we just feel like everybody's looking. And somebody could be looking at your ears, and you think, oh my gosh, he's looking at my shoulders. Look at my shoulders.
I know. I know. Oh my gosh. Literally. Like I love going to the gym, right? Yeah. But even to the gym, I'm just like, I'm looking at the mirror, I'm like, no, we're gonna go for another set. Nah. And obviously it's something that I have to, you know, better, because you know, I wanna tell girls that it is okay to look this way. It is like white that we don't need to think you know, of ourselves in this type of way. But I feel though, as an inspirer, I need to learn that about myself first before I send the message out.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing it, by the way. Thank you for sharing that.
That's okay. No, everyone don't look at my shoulders.
Now you can be doing this podcast. Oh my god, look at my shoulders.
I know. On TikTok, everyone's just gonna comment, look at her shoulders.
You know, no, I know. Like, I'm glad you shared that, because like, and you know, I'm sure a lot of people watching this can recognize you from TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, like, they probably look at your TikTok and think you're perfect. Right, because you are a beautiful girl, right? You are beautiful, so like, I'm sure a lot of people look at you and they're like, oh my god, she's perfect. So I'm glad you're sharing that, because I want people to get that reality that no matter how perfect you look at somebody, that everybody has their own thing. So instead of like be judgmental to people, let's be more empathetic and support people more, regardless who they are. So if you see somebody, like, just be supportive, and it's not like. You know, social media can be kind of tough, you know, can be rough when it comes to the comments and people judging on people. But I just want people out there to know, you know, love yourself and appreciate your body, and also let them know, like, when it comes to overcoming the insecurities in our life, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's something that we so, you know, even for myself, like, I have my own insecurities, but I work on it every day. So because I put in that work every single day, it's not as bad as it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So, but yeah, I'm interested. This is a little funny thing. I'm interested to hear what was something that a guy said about. What was like the worst thing that a guy said something about your shoulders that really like hurt your heart, broke your heart? I'm just interested in any comment somebody said or something. I'm just a little fun.
Yeah. It was because I've only like seen 2 guys in my life, but it was just our group of friends.
Yeah.
And as it was like late at night, we all decided to go to the gym. I didn't do anything. I didn't lift. I was just watching. And they all said, oh, I want to lift as big as Daisy. Look how broad her shoulders are. I want to be as big as her. And I was just staring. I'm like, I didn't even do anything. And I grabbed their jacket and I put it over me. I'm like, I don't. And I walked around like this, like trying to like make it straight. Literally, but but like that's the thing though. I saw it as a bad thing, whereas they complimented it. They actually they're like, no, I want those shoulders. Like it looks fine. But to me, I'm just like, oh my god, they're the worst thing in the world. Don't look at me. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Literally.
well, yeah. It was a compliment, but they were comparing it to guys.
Yeah, they're comparing it to guys, and I was like,
I'm not a guy. I am not a guy.
I'm like,
So
Genetics,
but
man.
yeah, I know. But yeah, just if everybody that's watching, just love yourself, appreciate yourself, and just work on yourself. Like just work on yourself daily, and I feel like that's all that is. Are you? I do want to talk about putting yourself out there. So are you pretty vocal? Are you a pretty vocal person?
In certain times that I need to be, I will be vocal. It really depends on like the situation. I feel like there are some situations where you don't need to be vocal, like, but there are some where you like voice your opinion, shout like.
so what are situations you feel for yourself, like that you always gonna speak up about that you see in the world?
Female empowerment. Even if someone wants to criticize cultures, it doesn't even have to be my culture specifically. It can be anyone else's cultures, like Asians, anyone. I'll speak up about it. Because even if I don't even know much about my Asian side as well, because I know barely any of my Asian side, I'll still speak up about it, because every voice counts. Even in situations where females feel afraid to speak, because I know I experienced that like a lot. I'm more than happy to speak for those who don't have a voice. In that way, I can help guide them to find their voice.
Do you have like a experience that happened and where a female didn't want to speak up, but you spoke up for them?
Yeah. This one's gonna be like really, really sad, guys. So
get ready.
So I won't mention her name, but a friend, she came to school, and she was very different. You know how like with friends, you just know something's up. She came to school and like something was definitely up. And in that week, she told us that something happened to her from like she was sexually assaulted by someone who she really trusted. And she kept quiet, and she didn't even tell on him. She did. And this kid, this guy who did it, he didn't come to our school, but it was someone that she would see often. And this girl, she kept quiet to a point where whenever she would see him, she would refrain herself from crying and run off to cry in peace, or cry behind the scenes, to not let anyone see it. And it wasn't until that we convinced her to tell us or tell someone that she actually realized that if she had kept quiet forever, he would have done it to someone else. And it taught me, because then I experienced the same thing. And I understand where she then came from, because when it happened to me, I did stay quiet because I was so scared. And I don't know why. Like, I didn't go to work for like almost a month. I didn't talk to my family, even though I called my mom straight away after it happened. And it was something unexpected. Like, it was a job interview. It was a job interview. You go in for a job interview, you don't expect that to happen. And I stayed quiet. And it wasn't until my parents actually took me to the police station that I actually spoke up. And I was mainly scared because I was scared that the police or my family would think, well, what did you do to lead that? Because that's a lot of question. That's like the main question that people do ask. What did you do to lead that to happen?
Yeah.
Oh, but did you ask for that? Or
Yeah.
like, I'm in a job interview. What am I asking for? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so when that actually happened to me, I actually then realized we, like females and males who experience this, because it's for both genders, you can't stay quiet, because if you stay silent, it's going to happen to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And the cycle is going to keep going until someone actually stops them.
Mm-hmm.
And that cycle, you don't even know who it's going to be. It might be me today, and then it could have been my cousin the next week. It could have been my little sister. It's just not going to work if someone doesn't speak. And I know it's scary, and I definitely understand that it's so scary, but can, like, imagine how scary it is for someone so little. How are they going to speak up? Like, you know.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 19, so it was only just a couple of years back.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And the perpetrator was like, was it a really old dude, or was like
really old? He was around 40.
40?
And he had a family, and he had a wife. I even met his wife.
Oh wow.
She was. So there were like 3 interview stages, and she came in on the second one, and I met her, and she was lovely. And it was on the last stage of the interview.
Yeah.
Like, it was just something so unexpected. I went in thinking I could actually nail this job.
Yeah.
And I come out bawling my eyes out on the phone to my mom, telling her to come and get me.
Mm-hmm. No, I just want to say thank you for sharing that, by the way.
That's okay.
Thank you for sharing that, and I know how difficult that can be for you. I just want to say, Matt, for everybody who's watching, you know, it takes a lot of courage to talk about those things, and the fact that you're sharing it today, I know, I can just see the courage within you. I just see like, So I just want to hug you right now. Give you a big paw.
I just hugged everyone right now, guys.
I'm gonna grab your shoulders, hug your shoulders.
Nah, you're good. You're good. We just lighten up the mood, guys.
Yeah, I just have to lighten the mood real quick. No, but I just want to say thank you and for sharing that, because you know, because I know a lot of women are watching this and probably can have gone through their own issues. And whenever women or Polynesian women talk about sexual abuse, like I always, for me, like as you were sharing that, the first thing that was running through my mind was my own, sisters and cousins, and it just kind of just like, for me, it's just like, oh my God, like I just hope that none of them have gone through it and not saying anything about it. So whenever I hear that when you talk about it, I'm just thinking about my own, my own family and friends. So, but thank you for sharing that. I do want to talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind. If you don't mind,
no, I don't mind.
Yeah, because and that's why I'm glad we spent the last couple, the beginning of the podcast. We talked about so many things when it comes to women. We talked about gender roles. We talked about how we the way in our culture, the way we treat women, and it doesn't encourage them to love their body and love themselves. You also talked about how you can't speak up in our culture, right? And I feel like, and that's the thing. Like, that's, I guess that's a question a lot of people always ask, because I've seen a lot of women gone, not on my podcast, but just in life in general, where they that it happens to them. But their first reaction is like what you went through. Like you don't, and your friend too. Like you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then I always see a lot of people criticizing, oh, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you? For me, but that always comes from people that they're very ignorant because they've never gone through that. If it never happened to you, you don't understand the trauma, how that trauma affects you in your mind. And it's like, so like just because a girl doesn't automatically say something about it that doesn't mean she's guilty.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of I hear from a lot of ignorant people say, oh, why wait like a year later, why wait 2 years later to say something? I was like, you can't tell people how to deal with trauma. Everybody deals with trauma in a different way.
Exactly.
That's like me telling you like how to deal with somebody passing away in your family, and like, hey, stop crying, or you're crying so much, or like, okay, you got 3 days to grieve.
Exactly.
Everybody deals with trauma in a different way, and but the question, the thing is like when I see Polynesian women, and then I believe what you said, like when you guys go through these things, we should speak up. You should speak up.
Yeah.
You should get justice. You should, like you said, not only for yourself but also for the other girls, because like you said, if you don't hold that person accountable, like that person is going to be running free. And who knows whose lives are they gonna destroy?
Exactly.
But that's the thing. I feel like the reason why I'm gonna ask your opinion. The reason why a lot of Polynesian women, are afraid to speak up, I feel like it just comes from like the way you guys were raised, like to like you said, just looking at my notes, when you said like you were taught to cook, to clean, to serve, like you have that serving mentality, and not having like the master mentality. I am in control.
Yeah.
Right? So you're always in that servant mindset. Because always like, okay, I'm always afraid to speak up. So I want to add, because I want more women to speak up, and I don't know as I'm not saying, look, I don't want to tell you what to do. Like, deal with however you want to deal with it. If you're watching this, deal with it the way you want to deal with it. But I do really believe that when it comes to pain and the things we in life, if we bottle it in, it doesn't do you any good. Like I think we all go through stuff in our life, and I'll go through all my struggles, and I learned that, especially the things that really, it's really traumatic to me, I had to learn to let go. And the way I learned to let go is I had to talk about it. Whether it was with a friend or with a close family member, whatever, you don't have to put your business on social media. you don't have, but I mean, if that's what you want to do, but yeah, just learn to let go and learn to speak up, because I feel like that's the first step of the healing process. And I don't want people to live with this like their whole life. And I know people like that. I have friends that they're not as they don't have it in them to speak up about it. And I see that the reason why they're not happy now, it's just, they just hold it in and they never let go, and they're always living in that moment. And then you can tell that whenever we go do certain things and talk about certain topics, that flash, like that they have that I don't know, PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, PTSD.
Yeah, it's like they always have flashbacks, constant flashbacks. It's because they're always holding in and living in it, and then the only way you can move past that. So I want to ask you is, in your opinion, like just talk about like I know it's tough when you went through it, but do you feel like that the reason why you didn't speak up immediately, and also you said something that was, I think is really important for a lot of people to hear. You were afraid to speak up. You say you were afraid to speak up because you felt you were afraid of what people would say. Like, did you put this up?
What they think of me?
No, did you initiate this? I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
Right? And I hear a lot of Polynesian women that get sexually abused. I always hear that from them, where they feel like it's their fault. Like they don't want to be judged or be seen that they're the reason why. They're the one that initiated it. It's never the man. In the Polynesian community, it's never the man's fault. It's never for some reason, I don't know why our Polynesian community is like this. Why do they just automatically assume it's the girl's fault?
Yeah.
They never put the blame on the man, and they always feel like.
And I don't know why.
I don't know. Exactly. As much as we put our women on a pedestal, it baffles me. Like, we have so much like standards and rules of making sure that our women is seen in the perfect, we put them on a pedestal, but when it comes to like their failures and the things that happen to them, we immediately just forget all about that and just shame them.
Literally.
Right?
I don't know where it comes from or why, what drives that mindset.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, like, and that's, I see that a lot. That a lot of girls, I have girls that I've talked to, like, that's their first mind. That's the first thing that, after that happened to them. That's the first. It's sad to see. That's the first thing in their mind. Oh my God, it's my fault. And they start justifying it that it was their fault, but it's never. Rape is rape. Or like abuse is abuse, or whatever it is. Like, it's never your fault. If anybody that's listening, if you're innocent and you know it, don't be afraid. Speak it. Right. But I want to ask you. Yeah. So I want to ask you. I know you said that you didn't want to share it, and also you felt like that people gonna judge you because people gonna say, oh, did you initiate it? Was it what you were? Was it what you said? And looking back at it now, because you're older now, you have some time to reflect. You have some time to think about yourself. I'm sure you're a better person now, in a better state of mind. What did that mind, like, what did that feeling or that way of thinking come from? Was it really your own, how you felt, or you feel like that came from a lot of the things that you were taught as a woman growing up in our culture? I'm just interested to hear that real perspective. Yeah.
So I would say part of it, like half, it's like half and half. Half would be like because of, being taught, growing up, back to what I mentioned before on how when you're in a shopping mall and then, your parents your mom pointed out, don't wear that. Like, don't be like that girl because, you're seeing that that's bad. Or like, don't show so much skin because, men will come for you. Right. So that's what also drove that thought, thinking, oh my God, was I wearing something to showing? Did I say something that, led to that?
Yeah.
But then half of it would be me thinking, did I try hard enough to fight back?
Yeah.
Because if I didn't try hard enough, then that'd be like, oh, so then you asked for it then.
Yeah.
Or, well, you didn't really fight back. Or I would think, oh, did I say no? I like everything rushed through. I'm like, did I say stop? Did I say no? Did I scream? Like, what did I even do? Part of it, like you honestly, you freeze. You go like because you're so in shock of what's happened. It's like everything is just running everywhere in your mind, and the last thing that actually it pops up is, it is not your fault. You need to tell someone. That's the last thing that comes in your head. Everything else before that is everything that shouldn't be in your head.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think half and half, like myself as well as like growing up.
Yeah. I want to ask you, like, can you talk about like after so it happened? I know you shared that you called your mom, and then you guys went to the police. You guys finally took care of that. I just want to interested to hear, like, how was the after effect after everything happened? Like, how did you feel? What did you go through mentally as far as your emotional and mental health? And I'm sure it probably was hard. But then, can you talk about that? And then also, what did you do to like move on from that?
So it was definitely hard. I'm like, I don't know if anyone from the Melbourne area knows this area. So like, I'm in like Caroline Springs. Where it actually happened is in Sunshine. So it's very close together. And if you take the train to the city, which I do a lot because that's where I go for work now, you pass it. I will pass Sunshine. And where you pass it, I can see where that building is. I can see where it took place. I stopped taking train. And if I had to take train, I would look away. And if I would put my earphones in so I didn't have to hear the suburb being announced on the train, because everything flashed back. I don't really talk to my family. Main thing is that I didn't really talk to my dad. I kind of kept my distance from men in general because I was so scared. And I barely slept. I didn't go to work for quite a while. I didn't even tell the reason why I wasn't showing up to work. I just told them that I was just really sick.
Yeah.
And I barely slept because every time I closed my eyes, I would see it. I would see him. I would see it happening. And the only way I could get to sleep was just crying myself to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Or just trying to pray to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But it took a while. But as you said, and I think everyone should know this, it's not going to get better if you're not going to speak up, because being trapped in my room, just crying myself to sleep did not help, because I didn't eat. It's really unhealthy, and it would drive you insane.
Okay. And what I'm sure you probably did some things that definitely helped, but out of all the things you did, what was like the biggest help for you to kind of like get back to living a normal life and, you know, having starting, you know, feeling happy again once more? Like what was like the thing what did you do that, because I feel like a lot of girls have gone through this or probably still struggling with their struggles, is they don't know what to do, or they probably like you said, they're still trapped at their room and haven't left in weeks or months.
Yeah.
But what did you do to finally like get back to your normal life?
Other than talking to like my family, and like the police and all that, and friends, the one biggest thing that actually helped me was actually being able to go to that suburb and walk in that suburb and actually look at that building. Obviously, I was so scared. So like me and my sister went, and I was crying the moment I got off. And we kept doing that so that I could get used to it. And what we would do, we would just get off, go and walk the streets. We would just walk past the building and just up and down. It took ages. The very first time, like I would just stand there and freeze, and I'd just be like, no, please, no, can we just, I can't. Or I would try and go around like a different way. I'll take the longest way possible just to get to the very end. But then we just kept doing it to a point where I got comfortable, where I could literally stride on that street, look at that building, and just know that I got out of that and I can walk the street without having to think of what happened.
Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I just want to say thank you again for sharing. And just want to say, Matt, I know much love to you, and I really appreciate you. So thank you for sharing that. Because I know that there's a lot of girls going through it, and I know it's definitely going to impact somebody today to speak up. And finally, and like you said, and I love what you said, like, you know, just finding the courage to deal with it. And I know, I'm just speaking from, it never happened to me, but I just feel like that when it comes to fear in general, you know, when it comes to things that give us anxiety, the only way we can deal with fear is just to, like, we have to face it. And you know, I forgot what was the quote, but I think it was a quote says, like, we can't let fear control our lives. I think that's like, if you can't really be happy if you always let your fears or insecurities stop you from living the life that you're meant to live. You know, and as painful, as hard, as difficult life is, that for some of us, even you know, some of you guys will unfortunately, we're gonna face some experiences that we grew up thinking that would never happen to us. You know, like I can only imagine, like, your thought process, like thinking like that's something that you never thought would ever happen. Right?
No.
Right.
No.
So
Never.
so like you don't, these things unfortunately that happens to all of us. A lot of times, like, we never think they would ever happen, but that's just, you know, that's life. But yeah, like, you know, I just don't want, you know, find a way to talk to people. I'm just going over the notes. Like you said, talk to people, find a way to deal with it in whatever way you want to deal with it. But at some point in time, you have to face it, and then that's that way. That's the only way you can kind of like take control of your fear and not let it to control you. Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. I'm trying to say
That's
much,
okay.
much love to you. I do want to transition, a little transition. I'm gonna do a little transition real quick.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your goals. I want to talk about your goals. Your vision, things you love to do, what inspires you to be yourself and to wake up every morning. If you want to share that, and I guess just because for me, when I saw your TikTok, for the first time, for me, I was like, oh, I loved. I'll immediately felt the vibes. Oh yeah, she got some great vibes right here. But for me, like I always love to see Polynesians elevating, happy, being themselves, doing themselves, and for me, I just love that. So when I see Polynesians doing their thing, whether it's on TikTok, whatever it's starting their own business, whatever it's like losing weight and being healthy. I'm like, oh, go girl, go. Yeah. I'm like, go
I know.
Get it.
It's the biggest thing.
I'm like, go get it. Yes. Like, go get it, because, I grew up in the struggle. So I know the life of poverty and I know the life of the, when we're struggling. So like, I feel like that it's always good for me that's why I love to see how people do well. I don't want anybody to go through hard times. I don't want people to struggle. So, and I know that in our culture, for some reason, I don't know why we kind of like trash on each other a lot, especially when people try to do better and elevate themselves and live a better life. I have no idea why we do that. I have no idea.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
It's like our worst critics always comes from like the closest people or like our own culture.
Yeah.
For some reason. But then I realized again that there's a lot of unhappy people out there. So that's why there's a lot of that saying hurt people.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's it. That is. But yeah, I'm interested to know. I want the audience to know more about you. Your goals. Things that you love to do. You're passionate about. What your vision is. Because I want you to manifest and speak to existence, because you never know, 10 years from now you may be a superstar and I'm like, oh my God, I know her.
I was on his podcast.
Yeah, she was on my podcast. She was on my podcast. I'm gonna hit her up. I'm gonna call you. Hey, can you do another one?
You're like, sure.
So I'm just excited. I'm very grateful that I got a chance to connect with you. But then, for me, anybody I connect with in life, I always I love to see their journey. So like I'm interested. So I'm excited for the next couple of years to see where you go, because now we've connected in there. So now we've come together in our life. And but yeah, to talk about your goals, what's your big inspiration for yourself, or what motivates you to do better in life? Any thoughts, any things that you learned about yourself that was very critical to your personal growth, to be a better person, you can share that with everybody, because I know a lot of people that are struggling to try to elevate themselves and get out of their comfort zone. Because it's polys, you already know what polys we don't like.
Yeah,
we like that comfort zone. We love that comfortable bed. So
I know.
So that's one of the hardest things at poly, because because we're so cultured. There's so many layers of culture, expectations, and pressure, and traditions that just thrown on us really at a very young age. As kids, so that's a lot of burden to carry, and for a lot of people, that's really, really hard to overcome and get out that. So I encourage it. So for me, I'm a big advocate for happiness, growth, love, and success, and just being the best version of yourself. So I want everybody that's watching this to get out that bed.
Yeah.
Literally, get out your bed.
Literally. No.
After this podcast, get out your bed. but don't worry, it's early. It's too early morning over there, so you have a good excuse. But everybody that's watching this, and it's like, afternoon, you need to get out there. They haven't got out there. If it's afternoon right now,
exactly.
You haven't left the house, you need to go outside the house and do something. But yeah, I just want to talk about this topic, because I feel like it's very empowering, especially from coming from you, and because I know a lot of people look up to you. So can you talk about your own, your goals, your passion, and your journey of trying to be the best version of yourself, and trying to accomplish your goals and dreams?
Yeah, I think the biggest goal is to take my social media platform as far as I can. I do want to grow to a high standard where I'll be able to collab with others from overseas, even maybe start. I mean, I am thinking and hoping to start like a project where I'll be able to, have fun with, I don't know, with like everything in life. Maybe travel more.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I do want to do. Traveling more when all this COVID thing is over.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that really motivates me is honestly and I know everyone says this, it's honestly the love and support that people give you from like the videos that you post out. Like for me, like I work hard on a video so that everyone who's watching is happy with it or likes it. And it makes me feel really, really happy when, I do get those messages saying, like, I love your TikToks. Oh my gosh, you inspire me, all that. Or even when I'm out in public and then I get to meet people, people come up and say hello, take photos and stuff. Being able to reach out to others and being able to see, their smiling faces, because I want to inspire them to maybe be creative if they want to do that. Because I know I do feel that our I'm not gonna gas us up because I am Polynesian and we're all Pacific Islanders, but honestly I feel that Pacific Islanders in general, we are such a dominant culture. Like we really are. Like we're amazing at sports, we're amazing at performing arts, we're so like humble and funny, like
Yeah.
and we're loving, and we love God, we love our families, we're so family orientated. There's nothing that we find impossible, but we limit ourselves, and I don't know why. Maybe it's I mean I would think it's probably because we've grown up to just be in a certain circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to be able to get people out of that circle. I want it to expand. I want us to, think outside the box. We don't, there's so much gap in everything for us. The industry, music, there's massive gaps. We need to literally minimize that. And I want to be able to help others not be afraid to step out and help minimize it. I didn't think that I would be on TikTok. I didn't think that I was going to start YouTube or, be on a social media platform. I honestly thought I was just going to be stuck in a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I am stuck in a 9-to-5 job, but I'm working on the side to get myself out of it. It's going to take a while, but at least every day is getting closer. And I want to be able to do that for others. And so hopefully that's a big goal. That's a big goal, to be able to be inspire everyone else.
Nice. Yeah. When you make it big, don't forget me. Don't forget me.
Of course. Okay, like we need more than The Rock and KJ Alpha. Okay, we need more people.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, it's funny. Like, because that's one of my dreams, and something I'm working towards. To one of my goals is to be like a keynote speaker. So I like to speak. So I like to go out there and share my story and inspire and empower people. So that's one of my goals, is to travel the world and make a living out of speaking. And also I love social media, being a social media influencer, podcasting. So for me, I just love any kind of way I can influence people, whether it's through social media, whether it's through one-on-one interaction, when it comes to public speaking. And that's always my dream. And the reason why I share that, because I think you said it. So I think you said it best. As Polynesians, and I don't want to sound biased, but we're just as talented as any other culture, any other race, any other people. And growing up, I've seen so many people. I have so many friends, and I know so many people. They're so intelligent. They're so talented. They're so gifted at cooking, at dancing, or business, or I've met so many gifted individuals every single day, but they never take action. They let that, like we talked about fear. They let fear control their lives of what's possible in their life. And it's just sad to me sometimes that as dominant as our culture is, it doesn't represent who we to the world. All they see is, oh, we're only good at sports. We're only good at, we're big and strong, so we're only good at labor jobs or whatever. But but the world don't really know our true potential, because a lot of us haven't really tapped into it. And that's why I love doing speaking, motivating, because I want to not only motivate the world as also, but I want our Polynesian people to be represented in the way that I know we can be represented, because I know our true potential. I know that. I've seen so many gifted people. So, and that's why I always and that's why when I see people like you doing your thing and, working towards your dream on TikTok and any Polynesian, I feel like we need more of that, because I feel like the more we see it, I want the more it becomes a norm. So like you kids, probably not in our generation, but when we have kids one day and in the next generation, I would love for my kids to grow up one day and see Polynesian dancers, and see Polynesian lawyers, and see Polynesian representatives in the government, prime minister or legislator, senator, or see Polynesian doctors. Oh, and I really feel like that can be very empowering. That's why I feel like if you're watching this and you have a goal, you have a dream, you have something you want to do, achieve for, go for it. Because not only are you going to accomplish it for yourself and bring you genuine happiness, but just think about the impact that you have on the world. But most importantly, think about the impact you're going to have into not only the next generation. Because but like you said, I know why we don't do it, because we have a limited mindset, because we grew up in the culture and we grew up in the tradition that we don't allow people to be themselves, to be free to dream. I remember, dream. I didn't even know the word. When in my household, dream meant sleep.
Exactly. Same. Yeah.
If I talk to about my dad had a dream. What it'd be like.
What do you dream about?
Dream about what is it? And then if I did have a dream about doing something, like they'll joke about it. They'll joke, like, they'll just shut you down.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. I see a lot of what we do. So I encourage people. So I want to ask you, because I'm interested, because I love what you're doing, by the way, and also for anybody out there that wants to start something, I know a lot of people have always reached out to me, asked me, how do you know? Because they saw I started my podcast, and a lot of people always ask me, hey, how did you start a podcast? How did you do it? And I tell people I just started. That's all I did.
Yeah, you just start.
There's no, I didn't have any. I mean, I've never done it before. I never held a camera before. Like, I have no camera skills or no editing skills. I had to learn those skills to get my podcast going. Just have to put the work in. But I want to ask you, because we talked about mindset. What were things as you started working on your goals and you started, doing your YouTube channel, TikTok? What were limited thoughts that you had? That you had to kind of like learn to grow out of that mindset, grow out of it, so that way it allowed you to take that step and actually start doing the things that you wanted to do. Because I feel like even for myself, I realized that I had a lot of negative and limiting thoughts, and I'll share one. I remember I only thought that the only thing I could be good at was sports, and that was like a negative belief I had to let go. Because I mean, I did play football, so I went to college, and I got an artist scholarship, and I was able to play collegiate sports. So so I was an athlete. Being an athlete was my whole life, just working out, eating, eat, work out, and play football. That was like my life for the first 21 years of my life. So I remember when I was done with college, and then I realized, oh shit, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm not gonna play sports. That really, oh my God, that really put me. I was depressed. Like my whole world and reality just fell apart, because my whole life I grew up with this mentality that the only thing I'm good for is sports. And I never thought I could do anything else. And when that reality started to manifest, that, oh wow, my NFL dream, my professional sports dream is over. I thought at that time my life was over. I thought I could do nothing else. I thought I'm not worth anything no more. I'm just gonna be average and be miserable and and never do anything worthwhile, something that's gonna make me, be proud, look back at my life and be proud of. But luckily, I met some people, met some mentors in my life that changed me and didn't give up on me, and in a way to mentor me and change my mindset to allow me to shift from, I think you relate to this, shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, right? Because and then that's when I realized, I can do more. I can be successful. I can go into podcasts. I can go into speaking. I can go into social media and do new things. So I'm kind of glad, because I always believe everything happens for a reason. God always puts you in places, challenges that He knows that you couldn't, that you can overcome. So I'm glad, and then now I'm happy. Like now I'm like excited. I'm doing, I'm actually living my thing. I mean, just to everybody that's been following my journey. I actually last year 2020, I literally left my job. I left my job and just full on dedicate myself to my goal and dream to be a speaker and podcast and be an influencer. So that was one of the hardest things I ever did was. And because I did what you did. I worked. I had my job, and it was a really good job, by the way. And a lot of my family members were like, thought I was crazy. To leave my good job that was supporting me financially, but I just felt within myself that I just had to do that for me, and it's now or never. It's now or never. So, and I've never been happy. So, and now looking back at my life, I'm glad that my professional sports dream didn't work out, because if that didn't work out, I wouldn't be actually, and then I would have met you today. Think about it, it's just crazy how life works out, right? Like if I would have made professional sports, then I would have met you today. I wouldn't have this podcast would have never existed, and all these beautiful and great people I've ever met in this podcast, they would share a platform and share their stories, and all the people that reach out to me and tell me, hey, thank you for sharing this, and thank you for talking about this topic, because you actually allowed me to heal within my own life. And which, like you said, when I get that feedback from people, that inspires me and it makes me feel good about myself, that I'm actually providing value to the world. So that's a little breakdown for me. But I just want to share that to everybody, the power of believing in your dream and living your dream. And I always tell people, you're literally just like one decision away from a total different life. If you just make that decision and commit to it, like, if you're happy now, this is what I always like to share with people. If you're having a good life right now, great. If you're happy now, but just think about it. Your life can be better. Your life can be happier. Just imagine, if you're already happy now, imagine living your dream. You imagine how happy you're going to be waking up every day, and you're actually living and manifesting within your dream that you've always had as a child, and you actually brought that into reality. You're going to feel a whole different level of happiness, and that inspires me, like, to keep going. It's like, when that day comes and when everything I thought about comes into reality, oh my God, like, I'm just gonna, we're turning up. I want to call everybody. I'm gonna invite everybody on my podcast. Hey, come party.
I know. We literally.
We're gonna turn up.
We're all gonna be on here.
Yeah, exactly. So, can you talk about your mindset and the things, the things you had to unlearn or learn in order for you to grow and actually start taking action, because for a lot of people that's really, really hard to put themselves out there, go out their comfort zone, and which is why I've, like, you inspire me and I respect what you're doing. So keep doing your thing. But can you talk about your mindset, things that you had to unlearn that you grew up believing, so that way it allowed you to grow and allowed you to kind of reach your full potential and what's possible for you. And if you could just share that to everybody.
I would say I was in the same boat, like, with sport. So I grew up playing netball, and like, I played netball like almost every day. So I could lead up to, I played state, and I was almost going to be on a plane to New Zealand to go trial for a New Zealand team. But at that time, just a month before I was meant to fly out, I got injured. I ruptured my ACL and MCL. Yeah. So, and at that point, I was so upset. I honestly thought, like, because I wanted to be a netball player. I was like, oh no, my netball dreams is over. Oh my gosh, I don't get to go play. I have to wait 12 months for recovery and all of that. But then during the time of recovery, I, started doing TikTok and, working on my social media, because I was so stuck in the mindset. I'm like, no, because, my parents wanted me to be a netball player, you have to be a netball player. So I never really thought that I would, do well on TikTok, especially. I didn't think that was ever going to happen.
But yeah, like, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Because my phone is acting up. Hold up.
You're good.
Did it close? No.
No.
I swear, man. Okay, there we go. Anyways, so I was so stuck in the mindset that I had just one goal in life, when really there's so many. Like, you can change your mind I can change my mind today and start something else. And that is completely okay. But I think it was just realizing that I love doing TikTok. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I loved playing netball, but all the time I was so tired, and I would never be able to actually go out, because I would always say, oh no, I've got training. Sorry. I'm like, no, I can't go out. I have to prepare for tomorrow. I've got my trials and all that. But now I'm just like, I'm meeting new people. I'm gaining more confidence to be able to meet people. I love doing what I do, and I love connecting with others. That's what makes me happy, and makes me be able to wake up, and I don't have to groan because I've got training. I get to wake up and be like, oh, what TikTok can I make today? What can I do to make someone else happy today? But yeah.
Okay. And so was there anything else besides that? Like, so you finally have to get over the thought, okay, I won't be in nipple play anymore. I can do something better than that.
Yeah.
Okay. But anything else that you had to do, like any habits or things that you had to learn or do, start changing about yourself in order to keep going?
I definitely had to change, like, especially with TikTok, right? When I first started, I thought that I had to follow the trends. Especially like American trends, like Charlie D'Amelio and all that. I thought I had to do exactly what they were doing in order to get liked or anything like that. So I had to get out of that habit, and I had to realize, okay, but like, because I realized that my videos were reaching Polynesian specifically. I don't know how, and I don't know why. So then I had to actually look into that. I'm like, okay, so my audience is mainly my audience is mainly Pacific Islanders. What can I do that's actually on the same level as all of us, not, what everyone else is doing? So I had to learn what us Pacific Islanders liked, which was comedy, music, which is what I use a lot for like my slow-mos and stuff. I like to use music that us Pacific Islanders love, like reggae and R&B and all that, instead of doing what others do. But yeah.
I want to ask you, like, because I feel like one of the biggest things that stops people from like working on what they want and their passion, their goals and dreams is, like, I guess the fear of failure, like failing. And of course, the criticism that you're gonna go through, the judgment, the criticism, and the hate. All right, which is so that. So can you talk about that? Can you talk about failing? How do you deal with that? And then compare, like how did you deal with failure when you were younger, and how you deal with failure now. So because I've always tell people, like, your relationship with failure is so important when it comes to success, because you're gonna fail a lot. Just FYI. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Even for me, I've been doing social media for 3 years now, and it's funny. I always, like, I don't know if you do this, but I always go back and watch like videos I made when I first started, and just compare it to like where I'm now, and then just laugh at myself. I'm like, oh my god, like I was such a like a weirdo or dork.
Yeah. But it's good to like then like, you know, look at those videos and think, wow, the difference.
Like, I cringe sometimes just looking at myself like 3 years ago on the videos. But I learned from those videos how to improve, how I improve. So you know, everybody out there, just want to let everybody know, like, you know, so you have to change the way you deal. Now when I fail, I have a different mindset. When I used to fail back then, I was like, failure meant like disappointment and it meant give up. That's what I felt like every single time I failed. But now when I failed, I learned something. So now when I fail, it's like the first thing I think about, well, what can I do to improve this? What can I do to grow from this? What can I just learn from this? So when I fail, I actually get excited when I fail. It's like, sometimes people think that's weird. When I fail, I was like, yes, I made a mistake. All right, they're like, whoa.
We're like,
So when I fail, I get excited because I know I can improve from that, and it allows me to keep going. So can you talk about your relationship with failure? How do you deal with it from in an early age, but now how you deal with it now, and also like how do you deal with negative criticism and judgment? Because I'm sure people do send you some hate and criticism in your TikTok videos.
Yeah.
And how did you deal with it when you first started TikTok? How did you feel when you first started getting hate comments and but compared to now, how do you deal with that negativity? Because just to put it out there for everybody, you know, whenever you do something different that's not the norm of what people are used to, there's always going to be criticism and judgment, because you know people are always going to hate what they don't understand. And then when you're working towards your goals and dreams, they're not going to understand it because they haven't worked on their goals and dreams.
Exactly.
So to them, they're like, because they've given up on their own dreams, it makes them feel uncomfortable being around you, that you're actually doing what they always wanted to do, but never got a chance to do it because they quit or whatever. So, you know, whenever you work on your goals and dreams, you know, people will always judge and criticize you, but don't worry about it because they don't understand, you know, they don't see your vision, your goal. You know where you're going. All right. So keep doing so. It's just part of the process. Keep working, because then no matter how much they criticize you now, they're gonna clap for you when you make it at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna be, you know,
they'll be the same people. Like chasing after you.
Yeah, they'll be your biggest fan when you do make it. So yeah, can you talk about those? Can you talk about your failure, your relationship with failure? Interested to hear that from you, and also talk about how you deal with criticism and judgment and the negative people.
Yeah, I think when it first all started out, yes, there were some people who weren't really supportive of like videos that I was doing, or didn't really like me, or sometimes they don't even have to know you, or you know, or watch the video. They'll just leave a comment on there just maybe they're having a bad day and they want you to have a bad day as well.
Yeah.
When it first started, I used to take it to heart. Like I used to be like, oh my gosh, this person said this. And it would crush me. And I don't know why I would let that crush me. Like out of all the 100 lovely comments, just one hate comment, and that's all my mindset would be on. Yeah. But now, and then when I would tell my mom, like, oh, look at this person, what they commented, my mom would literally just be like, yeah, and yeah, just like, it's nothing, it's just a comment, it's like you can literally block the comment. And she even said, like, that's one person compared to all of those who actually follow and support and love the video. Like, and she even said, like, they probably don't even mean it. They're just probably just, you know, just wanting you to have a bad day because they're having a bad day. And so, yeah, I use that as like now, like barely now I'll get hate comments. Like I'll probably get like one or two, and they're from Samoa. Like they're actually from the islands. And honestly, I just block it and move on. I've now built like a wall where I'm just like, I don't care. Like, yeah. I'm doing me. I'm like, you're on my page. You could just simply scroll. Yeah. Like that's the thing. If you give them attention, that's what feeds their ego even more. Yeah. So you just gotta ignore it.
Yeah. And How do you deal with mistakes and failure?
Mistakes
Like
and
it,
failure.
yeah, like yeah. 'Cause I don't know, just listen to you lately, and then I'm just like looking at your personality. I can tell. Well, I can tell just you have that natural personality where you just live in life. Like it doesn't matter if you fail.
You know,
It doesn't matter if you fail or not.
literally,
I'm gonna live life. Like, I don't care. Which is great. Which is
my
great, by
one
the way.
motto that I say a lot is YOLO.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. You don't,
literally, I just stand there. I'm like, should we go to a haunted house? Yeah, let's go to a
yes.
haunted house. YOLO, and we'll just go. Like we went the other day. Like
I know.
it's yeah.
No,
No, but
yeah.
like with failure, I would say I experienced a lot in sport. Like obviously, if we lost a game, if I didn't make a team, because I didn't pass trials, or even at the gym, if I didn't squat this amount, like even though that was like my goal to, I like a part of me would be like, oh, like I'd feel really down, but then I would use that energy to then push myself and be like, okay, don't worry, you got to this point, you can get to the next point. We're just gonna have to work harder. It's just gonna take a little more time. If you have to trial again, so be it. Trial again. I tend to tell myself just keep going until you cannot go any further. And it was a teacher of mine who actually taught me that. But the quote she used that for was for the beep test. I think, is that the PACER test in America?
I think so. Oh, wait, the what test?
It's like where you have to run up and down and like the levels for fitness.
Oh, yeah. We call it well, in America we call it suicides, or we call it like gashers. That's what we call it here.
Yeah, and you just have to keep going until you reach a level. As far as you can. Yeah, so it was for that. She literally said the quote for that. She literally said, you have to keep going until your body cannot go any further, or you cannot go any further. You don't give up just because I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Let's just end it here. Or, oh, I'm going to stop here because my friends are stopping here. And I think, with that quote for fitness, I use that a lot now. I'm like, I'm going to keep going until I cannot go any further. I'm like, if my friends want to stop here, if other people want to stop here, so be it. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to, stop myself. Because that's the only thing. It's yourself who will stop you from reaching anything.
Yeah.
And that's with failure as well. You'll be stuck with failure if you keep yourself there.
Okay. I see you got that fire right now, but right I wrote that.
Memories of high school is coming back.
I just wrote that quote down. I was like, okay, Daisy, okay, Daisy.
Yeah.
That should be like, you should like post like something on Instagram and like make your own picture of yourself in a quote,
Yeah.
just change a little bit.
Yeah, literally. Like, don't fail, guys.
No, that's the one thing I want to share with people, everyone watching. The one thing I love about you is like your perspective. A lot of the beliefs and the things that we believe in and always comes from our perspective, because like if you have that perspective, like I'm only gonna live once,
yep.
Right? So I know that's like the question a lot of people ask me all the time, how do I get over the fear of failure, how to get over my my insecurities. And I always tell people like, yeah, it really depends on how you see your life. If you ever look at people that really do really well, it's not because like they're more talented than you, or they're better than you, or because they're more gifted than you. A lot, of course, it does take a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice and discipline, but more importantly, it's just they just see things differently. And because given with like me and my siblings, I'm like total off the rails when it comes to me and my siblings. I'm like, my siblings, I'm the youngest, so like my siblings are like all the traditional Tongans. My sister's like the Tongan woman, the traditional Tongan woman that how should be. Because we grew up in a very traditional household, and and the guys and my brothers are very traditional Tongan. And then there's me, just podcasting on social media, TikToking.
Yeah.
And then sometimes my parents like, what? Sometimes my family's like, dude, I think you're adopted. Your mom. I'm like, I'm glad I'm adopted. I wouldn't be myself right now, but it's just funny, like. But I always like ask myself. I always had this, like, I guess this is my view of, I guess, for me, like, I've always been a dreamer. Like when I came from Tonga, when I was in Tonga, I used to watch America and like watch the movies and saw the American movies. And I always had this, oh my God, like I always saw America as like opportunity and limitless dreams. So I guess like I will always had that dream perspective towards like, what if, I know this is hard, but what if I make it happen? I know this is difficult, but what if I make it happen? So I always had that question, what if? And I want to find out. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to see if I find out. If I fail, I fail. It is what it is. But what if I do succeed? Then that's when life gets fun, and that's when life is interesting. And so I think that I have the same mindset as you. Was like, I just don't want to regret anything when it comes to my life. I don't want to get to the end of my life, and which I often see a lot of older people go through it, where they look back at their life and they regret they didn't do this when they had the time, or they regret that they did, this opportunity they missed out. So I always, like you said, like for me, when somebody tells me to do something, it's like, yes, let's do it. Like I just scared. I was like, yeah, but
like, yeah, but okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I just want to say I did it. I don't want to. I guess I want to keep that habit. So I'm going to keep doing it, just trying it, because I feel like that's how I got to where I'm at right now. So I just kept trying new things, and then think for a lot of people, especially Polynesians, try to figure out what they want to do for their life. I always tell them, like, you just got to try things. Just try it. Just try try as many things as you can, and then eventually you find something that you love to do, and then that would be your answer, and go do it. So
exactly.
So, and of course, when it comes to the criticism and hate, like you said, like, don't worry about the haters and criticism, and they're just people. They're just going through their own misery, and then And plus, like you said, their opinion has no like doesn't impact your life in any way, shape, or form. Like it doesn't pay your bills. It doesn't put gas in your tank. It doesn't put gas in your tank.
Exactly.
So you should never worry about what people say. So I do want to go into like talking about like happiness. I think you said it about that's the reason why you love doing TikTok and doing your things is like being happy. It gives you so much joy. I do want to talk about that because I feel like a lot of times in our Polynesian community we don't really talk about happiness. When it comes to personal happiness, doing what's good for you. Because I feel like culture is more the way we I guess in our culture it's all about giving and fulfilling your responsibility and obligations. And because I remember I did a podcast a long time ago, and she said that in the Polynesian culture, the way we express love is by sacrifice. So the more you sacrifice for others, that's how they consider you a loving and daughter or son. But if you start loving yourself first and making yourself a priority and doing what's best for you, then all of a sudden you're seen as the evil daughter.
Literally.
And the evil son. So I want to promote happiness, and I feel like I see a lot of Polynesians and people in the kids, and it doesn't matter all ages, that never do anything for them and never do anything that's good for them. They live their whole life trying to do what everybody expects them to do, or to try to please everybody, or just to be that person that everybody wants you to be. And then they struggle with that. So I want to ask you, because I see you're a happy person, and so have you always, did you ever? Has it always been your natural personality, just doing you, or is it something you think about, like, hey, my happiness is a priority? Like, did you my happiness is a priority for me, and I want to do what makes me happy, and I'm just interested to hear like your journey with that. Like, so like at this point in time in your life, is it just who you are and your natural personality, you want to be happy, or do you actually wake up every day, okay, I had, and prioritize and make that something you have to do? I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that and share that with everyone.
I would say I am naturally a happy person. Like, because I work in customer service, even when I speak to like customers, they actually are surprised that they're speaking to someone so happy. They even ask me, "Oh, why are you so happy today?" But I'm just like, this is just
why
me.
Not? Why
I'm
not?
like, I know.
Like, why not?
Like, I'm waking up to a brand new day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I think even on bad days, I can still try and find a way to be happy. I try to tend to look at the small things, like, okay, even though I'm having a bad day today, I still woke up. You know, I can still see my family every day. They're here with me today. I've got food, I've got clothes on my back. Like, I think it's a mindset in regards to happiness. Like, pretty much how I see life is that I'm in control. I can control how I feel, and that's including my mental state, my emotions, and as well as what I can do. So the fact that I can be happy every day, I think that's just me just being happy. Like, now, like, just speaking to you, like, that's like, I'm gonna be smiling all day today. Like, because I'm just gonna keep thinking of it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I think that's just a natural thing.
Yeah, I want to ask you, like, has any point in time in your life where you had to put your happiness first, even at the cost of disappointing other people? Because I feel like that's part of the journey in life, and that's one of the hardest things about happiness is especially for a lot of people, is like, especially with Polynesians, is like understanding that it's okay to choose you in the cost of losing people or disappointing people if they don't agree with your happiness. Because at the end of the day, like you said, it's your life. At the end of the day, you have to live it.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
You know, I think one of my favorite, somebody said to me, and I always think about this, like, look, at the end of the day, like, all these people that want you to be a certain way or have these expectations on you. See, the thing is, like, they want you to follow and have those expectations and live that life, but they don't have to deal with the consequences and the results of your life. You do.
Exactly.
So you're going to do all these things for them, but when things go bad, you have to deal with it. So that's why it's important to, you know, make yourself a priority, because you have to deal with it. So I'm interested to hear from you, like, you know, has there a point in time in your life that you had to, you know, keep doing you and focus on you, choosing your goals and dreams at the cost of disappointing other people, at the cost of losing people? But, you know, at the end of the day, it's your happiness, so you're gonna do you. Can you share any experiences with that? If you do have, if you don't, then it's all good.
Yeah. I don't have much. I think the only one I have is that when I actually finally started, like, dating someone. Like, obviously that's like a big thing in Islander families when the daughter is gonna start dating. And obviously my parents were against it, me seeing my very first guy, and they actually said no. Like, they actually said, no, you're not going to see them.
How old were you, by the way, when you were dating?
I was 18. I was 18. I was 18. And I honestly was like, but I would actually like, oh, but he's really nice. Like, we're only gonna go out on a date, this and that. And obviously they disapproved it and everything. Until, like, my family friend just said, but, like, are you happy? Like, I know, like, he could see that I was, like, really sad that I didn't get to go on this date with the guy I liked. So I did it. I actually said, I'm gonna go on the, like, date, and they're like, okay, whatever. And I did it. Like, even though my parents were a bit mad, even when I got home, they didn't talk to me for, like, the whole day. Like, literally they didn't talk to me, but then they got over it. And I was like you think to yourself, like, see, you literally got over it. And I still managed to get my happiness. If I didn't, I would not be getting over it. I would probably just be sitting there, like, like really pissed off or like upset because you're happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though like sacrifice, yes, but then even though it's like hard, people are gonna get over it, and they're just gonna accept it.
I don't know if you're. Because I don't know how does your parents ever like set you up on or recommend people for you? Because I know some Polynesian parents, they do that.
Mine don't. Like my dad, mine don't. I'm glad they don't. I mean, my mom always mentions that she hopes to see me with like a Samoan or like even an Asian guy. Where my dad, he's just like, the moment you come home with a guy, you're out of this house. But really, he's just like, don't leave.
Who's gonna cook for you? Who's gonna do all the chores?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So, since we're in the topic of dating, can you share some like what things you've learned so far, and just as far as like experience with like healthy relationships, and what you look out of a guy. I feel like a lot of people are listening, they're interested to hear your thoughts on this. I think it'd be cool to share that.
Yeah.
So what have you so far as like healthy relationships? What do you look for in a guy? Because I feel like a lot of these guys, like I feel like now in our culture today, everything's so superficial now. That everybody thinks that everyone's looking for like the superficial qualities of a person, and that's all they look for in the relationship. And I understand, I get it, because when you're younger, that's all we think about. I've been there. I'm not here to judge nobody. I've gone through that type of thinking. But then when you go older, then you realize like when it comes to a health relationship, none of those things matter, and none of those things keeps our relationship. It's really come to that person, of connecting with that person, chemistry, how they treat you, respect, all of those things. That's what communication. That's what keeps a relationship. But I know in the culture now, TikTok and in social media, that can be very, very difficult, because that's all we look for, and that sometimes becomes our reality of what we look for as far as a partner. So I'm just interested to hear your thoughts about that, and then what as a woman, like be honest, like what do you look for in a guy? For all those guys out there, they need that vote of confidence from you.
Guys, get your list out.
I think it's just funny. It'd be fun to just talk about this. If you don't mind.
You guys will hear me now. Honestly, guys, I've never been in a like relationship. That I've only seen 2 guys in my life when I was 18, and it was really like seeing, as in we were going on dates to see whether we could actually become like a thing.
Yeah.
Didn't work out, obviously. One thing I did learn from it, both of them were Balinese, so this is how I learned. I like, don't change yourself for them. The Balinese boys that I saw, because they didn't understand my culture, they questioned my culture, and they questioned things that I would do. Like, obviously, us Islander girls and Islander kids, we can't be out with a boy late at night. Like, their parents may think that their parents may allow that for them, but our parents won't. And they questioned it. They questioned me not drinking or smoking because of like, is that in like the Tongan culture, like with the 21st key with the rules and all that?
That when you turn 21, you get the key.
Yeah, and like obviously to get the key, like there's certain rules you have to follow, like, and not break before you get it. Do they have that?
No, I do know that when women in our culture turn 21, they give them the key as like a sign of like you're an adult now, that you're free. But realistically, that key doesn't mean anything. They're still trapped.
Exactly. It's just a play around.
It's just a metaphor that people like to. But if you're Polynesian, you know that you're never
You're not really
your parents are always gonna rule your life, no matter what.
Exactly.
like my parents,
they're always gonna be there.
My parents still beat me up today. Like, shit, I'm a grown man now. I still get beat. Like, and I was like, it's just how we are. Just how we are.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and obviously they didn't understand that because I don't think not all families follow it, but like in Samoan culture, to get your 21st key, and it's majority girls because I don't know why it's majority girls has to follow these rules. But yeah, you can't drink, going out, smoking. It's really more a mixture of rules depending on how your parents set it up.
Yeah.
And so that was the rules for me and my sisters, and what it is for now. We don't drink, smoke. We do party, so like that's not it. Or like we keep our virtue to ourselves and stuff. And yeah, they didn't get that, and they made fun of it.
Oh.
And
yeah.
to a point, and when they made fun of it, me being an 18-year-old who did not speak up for it, I literally laughed it off and just would be like, oh, ha, 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 ha. Even though I should have beat him up right there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I learned. Don't change yourself or let them question yourself and your culture. Just make them understand it, or like teach them, because they'll then finally understand the beauty of it. So obviously on that list, don't question my culture. It's more for like be open to learn about my culture, because that's pretty much what makes me me. So obviously if you want to get to know me, you'll also get to know my culture. I'm just gonna say Pacific Islanders in general, they're probably at the top of the list, but any mixed cultures I don't really mind. I don't really mind. But besides that, personality is key. Like none of this driller boy, none of this bad boy and can change from a girl. No. No. Like you need to get your act together before you even think of getting with me, because the whole point of getting with someone is to be with them forever, and marriage. It's not a play around. Like I'm not someone that you would just get with this year and then be like, okay, I'm gonna get with someone else, and family, like someone who's like family oriented as well, like, because I mean that's a big thing with everything. Who else? What else? And humor. Like humor. If you can't laugh at a joke, especially because I like to be sarcastic sometimes. If you can't laugh at it and know when I'm being serious and when I'm not,
take a joke. Take a joke.
Exactly. The exit's right there. Go.
All right. So that was that's a pretty good list.
Yeah, I'm not too picky.
Yeah. No, I want to ask you, because you're a TikTok star. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like guys get intimidated? Because you're a TikTok star, or like you're well known? I'm just interested to hear that. Like, do you feel like that sometimes, or like when guys like?
Honestly, I do.
Yeah, like because you're just, and of course, like also like people have their own version of who they think you are on social media, but they don't. So they judge you based on. So like I know a lot of girls, and especially when I talk to girls on social media that have a big following, and they always say, guys always think I'm stuck up, or I'm like posh, or like, I don't know, I'm a normal person. Like I'm a normal,
I know.
But they judge you because, and I understand it, image is perception. Like what we see is what we believe. But I'm just interested. Do you feel like guys get intimidated because you're on TikTok, social media, and you're out there, and they can kind of like they don't want, they think that's who you are, but they don't really know like the real person. But has that ever happened to you? You feel like has that experience ever happened to you?
Yeah, like it was actually recently. So there's this like place here in Melbourne. It's called Q Room. It's really cool. It's pretty much where a lot of islanders go, where you can play pool, but there's also like the dance floor and everything. It's like kind of like a club, but it's like really fun. And me, when I go there, when I was there, like I'm just doing my thing, just enjoying my time and stuff. And the guys would go up to my cousin and just be like, oh my gosh, is that Daisy from TikTok? Do you think she'll talk to me? I'm too scared. Like, wait, was she stuck up? Like, you know, they're asking my cousin about me instead of coming up to me to ask me or, you know, just say hello. I'm like, I get it. I mean, if you're shy, then yeah, of course. I mean, I understand. But yeah, that, and like sometimes they'll message me like, oh, when they finally actually meet me, they're like, oh, I didn't expect you to be so like, you know, nice and chill. I actually thought you were like, you're gonna be like stuck up and, you know, not so nice and be mean. You know, I had a whole different version of you. Like,
and that's when your sarcasm comes in. Exactly, that's who I am.
I know that is.
Block.
No, like I know. Like, bye. No, but like it's crazy. Like it's crazy because like I mean I will admit, I mean I've done that. Like I've made a perception of someone completely opposite to what they actually were, because of their social media, because of the way, you know, maybe the way they posed in photos. Like I would never see you smile, so I didn't think that you were such a happy person. But really, they're like what? Yeah. So yeah, but it's funny because then, you know, you're just like, because that's okay. That's one thing. That's a little less. Don't go to my cousins or friends to ask them questions about me or to get to me. Like just come up to me or message me. Like confidence. That just proves that you are confident.
Yeah, that's funny. So I'm just here. So what is I know you talked about it, but what do you? Because I feel like, you know, when you're on social media, like there's always this persona that people think of you. And of course, people out there, please don't take seriously. Don't take social media literally. Like what? Like I'm telling you, like social media is just a version of who we are, but that's not who we are. We all have different versions. Like there's a version of ourselves we show to our parents, and there's a version of ourselves we're out there. Partying it up, the party version. Exactly. There's a workout version, so we all have different versions. And social media is just another version of us, just another extension of who we are, but that's not who we really are. So like, if you see somebody, don't judge, like don't criticize them, like, you know, don't judge them at all. But yeah, what are the things like people that you hear? Like I'm just interested to hear, like, what are the things you hear all the time that of the persona they think you are. That you often hear from people?
One, because I have a twin sister, people think that I'm the mean twin. But like it's been like that since high school. Like they would literally call me the evil twin. You know, like I have no idea. What else? Some people would think that like I'm not Samoan, or like I'm not like I don't speak or understand. They kind of feel like I'm plastic. That's one thing that I get a lot. People think I'm plastic, which kind of hurts. That one does hurt a lot, especially when they speak to me and they think I don't understand, and then I reply back and they're like, oh. I'm like, majority is like some of my TikToks are in Samoan, by the way. But what else? Yeah, just like normal ones are like they just think I'm not a nice person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's cool. And you say sometimes people recognize you and they come up to you and ask for pictures and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, huh? They're cute. Yeah.
What was the most memorable like experience that somebody was a fan that came up to you and asked for a picture? Like anything sticks out?
The most memorable one is me and my mom. We went to go buy our cases for our AirPods, and we were standing at the kiosk, And just a sister and a brother, or two sisters and their brother, they literally came up and just tapped me on the shoulder in a shopping mall, and like just literally was just saying that they love my TikToks. They literally appreciate, you know, the work that I do, and they actually got to speak to me and like, you know, see how I was, like how my day was. They actually asked me, oh, how was your day today? What are you guys doing? And I got to actually speak to me like a normal conversation before they even asked for a photo. and like one thing that's like, they actually ask for a photo. Some people, when I'm walking around, they like video or take photos of me.
Take I'm
like, I'm not even ready. I'm like, I've got a really bad angle. I love taking photos of people, and I love and I really don't mind people taking photos of me, and like they just don't want to ask me. It's like I just want to give you a best shot, you know. I just want to give you the best angle,
the best lighting, you know.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it was really nice that, like, you know, I got to actually have a real conversation with them, and then get a photo, and then yeah, we just parted our ways. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I guess the last thing I just want to end it off with. We've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot of stuff. We talked a lot.
I know. Time went so fast.
I know. I guess for you, what I want to talk about, the last thing is just because one thing I love about you is like you just being yourself. Yeah. And I guess the last thing I just want to talk about is like, you know, I feel like that's one of the hardest things as Polynesians I see a lot struggle with, is like the trying to navigate through all the stuff that we just talked about, the culture, the expectations, the gender roles, the things you guys go through, and still finding yourself. So now, like, what I ask you is, you know, because I always tell people, you know, because I understand that a lot of as much as we love our culture, as much as we love it and appreciate it, and I know you're a proud Samoan woman, and I know I'm proud to be Tongan, but I also understand that our culture can also is not perfect either. So there are a lot of things that, and everybody's watching this, like, I guess that's one of the criticism I get from a lot of people. They're like, oh, you know, this guy right here, he doesn't appreciate the culture, doesn't value his culture, and he's trying to change the culture, right? And I guess my response to you is like, I'm not trying to change anybody. I'm not trying to change the culture. All I want to do is improve it. I want to improve the culture, and I want to make it better. And as much as you want to be in denial, most people want to be in denial of the things that we go through or the struggles that you see people in Polynesia go through. But I want to improve it because I feel like it's our natural beauty in life, in the universe, is to make sure that we give a better life for the people that's going to come after us. So I want, you know, when I do have kids one day, I want to make sure that they're going to be as proud as me about their culture, right? But they're going to, you know, they're actually going to live a better life, that they won't have to go through the stuff that we just talked about. Literally, you know, all the things, the struggles, the insecurities, the fears, the pressures, the expectations. And so they can be prouder, so they can spend more time like you, be happy, spend more time, be happy, be themselves. So I guess the question I want to ask you is, you know, as you know, you've lived at this point in time in your life, you know, being the person you are today, and you know, all the things you went through in your culture. What are the things that you feel like that's important? That's how, I guess that's healthy in our culture, but also what are the things that you feel like in our culture we definitely need to improve, or definitely improve or change within our culture? And I don't like when they say the word change, because people might misperceive that and take that you know, as like I'm trying to literally change, take it as if it's literally I want to change everything. No. I want to, I guess, a word to say improve. So in your opinion, after everything you went through, you know, in your childhood, you know, as a teenager, to where you are right now, after all the experiences you've gone through, being a Samoan woman, and figure out yourself, figure out, you know, what makes you happy, doing what you're loving, what, you know, what brings you joy. Just looking back at everything now, what are things within the culture? I guess we can start off. What are things in the culture do you value the most? Because I want to make sure people know you do value your culture. I don't want people just to go off on you in the comments. So what do you value about the Samoan culture? What you appreciate about it, and what part of that culture makes you you. But at the same time, after you share that, can you talk about the things in the Samoan culture that you feel like that we can improve, so that way, the next generation can have a better life and live a happier life than we do. Yeah. And because a lot of things we talked about today is generational. It's a cycle that keeps repeating, and that's why I started my podcast. That's why I very appreciate you doing this and speaking about it, because I feel like everybody's listening, like we have to talk about these things, and the more we live in denial, the more we pretend like it doesn't exist, and that's why these things continue to happen, and continue to see our Polynesian brothers and sisters suffering, depressed, have mental health issues, and going through the things that the hardships of life that we don't wish upon anybody. So we want people to live their best life, and YOLO.
Exactly, YOLO.
Live their YOLO best life, and grow to be the best version of themselves, and accomplish all their goals and dreams. And I feel like that's what you should want for anyone. And if you don't want that for anyone, then you need to do some soul searching. And
I know.
and honestly, if you don't feel that way, I think you need a hug. If you need a hug, I'm gonna hug you right now. Here's a hug, because I feel like so somebody did not, somebody did have a good experience in life. So so you can talk about that. What do you value about the Samoan culture, and why that makes you you, and the beauty it makes the beauty of Samoan culture, but at the same time, the things in the Samoan culture that you feel like we definitely need to improve, work on. So we can make sure that everybody that comes after us has a better life than we do.
Exactly. Yeah. The things that I value the most, I mean, there's a lot. But main things I do value the most is, despite being taught at a young age of being proper and everything, that is actually a good thing, because we're taught immediately how to then care for others, care for our families, and cook, clean, because if anything, I know how sad it is, our parents are not going to be with us forever. So we have to then know how to take care of ourselves when they're not here, or when they're not capable of looking after themselves. We then have to put it back onto them. So that's one thing I do value the most, is that we're able to learn how to cook and clean and be mature at a young age. Another thing is, I would say, our culture in like music and our clothes and the history behind Samoa itself. There's so much behind it that makes Samoa it today, especially our Independence Day and everything like that. That's one thing that is so beautiful to me, that I'm so glad that I get to share with others who don't actually have that, who they don't exactly know what Independence Day is, or don't even know what my culture is. I get to tell them the stories. What else? There's so many. Yeah. Our music, our dancing, it's so beautiful and graceful. I'm sure, with any other culture, when you see it being performed in front of you, you can't stop but thinking how amazing and how in awe it is. It's so raw as well, that we dance and sing from our heart and from our ancestors. We tell it through stories and all of that, and we're able to pass that on. Things that we could better within our culture, I would say, more for elders, parents especially. It's not in our culture to tell our kids that they have to let things go. You had a bad day, who cares, don't worry about it. Listen, I think we need to stop being so stubborn and listen to others and accept that not everyone thinks the same. Like things that I've mentioned today probably isn't the same what someone else thinks. They probably are completely the opposite, but that's okay. And we need to actually see that it is. And I think just also with, the gender roles, like girls and boys, we're the same, there's no restrictions. Look, I've got men's shoulders. That just proves. Literally, we're not the same. Oh, sorry, we're not different. We are the same.
I think man's to take boy shoulders.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's not many faults in our culture. There's not many faults, but there's definitely room for improvement. But yeah, all in all, I love my culture. I would not want to be any other culture.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. And and that's pretty much like everybody that's watching, and contrary to all the people out there that with the criticism to feel like I feel like that's the thing. A lot of people I get not from my generation, our generation. It's more from the elders. Like they always I guess people like, why are you trying to change the culture? I'm like, I'm not trying to change anything. I'm not trying to change the culture. But I think somebody said this. I think it was Lanu. I think she said this. Like I did a podcast with her a long time ago, and she said something that I think is pretty cool. Culture doesn't make the people. People make the culture.
Exactly.
Like the culture. The culture doesn't make you as a person who you are. It's part of who we are, but it doesn't make you who we are. That's why we can all be Polynesian, but we can all be unique and different of who we want to be in life, right? So, but we as a people, we make the culture, because if we all come together and put our minds together and we say, hey, these are the things we need to improve and work on, and these are things we can kind of like erase because it's not helping or it's not healthy for Polynesia, and then we just get together and make a new culture, and that's what we teach our kids. Then that's gonna be the kids' culture growing up, because and I want to put that out there that we dictate the culture. We don't, and just like I guess I think it can relate to one of my favorite quotes in life, like don't let life dictate. You don't have to be a victim of the circumstances of life. You can be a product. Don't be a product of your circumstances. Be a product of your decisions. Like we don't have to be a product of our culture, but we can decide who we become in our culture. And that's the thing. Like I just want to improve our culture. I want all Polynesians to be happy. I want all Polynesians to grow. I want all Polynesians to laugh and have fun, and like Daisy. I want everybody to be like Daisy. They're laughing, experiencing, having fun, and just living life and work on their goals and dreams. That's the thing I want to see, not only within our culture, but for all people. And and especially for your own kids. Like I think one of somebody used to always tell me all the time. I think about this all the time. Like they say, like, would you allow your kid live? Would you want your kid to live the same life you would live? That's something that, right? And I always think about that. When as far as myself, what I'm trying to do, like, if I'm doing bad things to myself, I'm making bad decisions, and especially during the times when I wasn't living a very good life for myself, I always thought to myself, is this the type of life that I would want my child to live, or this is, would I be the type of dad? This is, would I want? This is the type of dad I want my kid to have. I always think about that. So that encourages me to be the best version for myself, because in our culture, Polynesian culture, I guess the thing I love about Polynesians is like our value of family, like family. I think that's one thing I love about our family. As crazy as our families are,
I know.
As crazy as our families are, I know, some of y'all, we crazy sometimes, we
Yep.
But family is I really do believe in a family, because I feel like everything starts at home. a person's confidence, a person's self-esteem, how kids learn about love, how kids learn about respect, everything, that all the foundations of who we are starts at home. So whatever I can do, and thank you for coming on here and sharing your story, because I feel like, whatever we can do to keep families together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whatever we can do to improve the way a child is raised, and they can get more love and support. I feel like that's where we can. That's where the change happens, I guess. I'm bringing that word out now. I didn't want to use it before. So I feel like if we can improve the quality of life of the Polynesian family, and keeping it together and having a better relationship with the child and the parents, and communicating and loving each other, supporting them, understanding each other, I feel like that's when we start to see our culture flourish. And then that's when we're going to see Polynesians start doing big things.
Exactly.
It's not doing big things. And I feel like and then of course that's a lot of work, and that's too far ahead, but that's something I can see as a dream, as for myself, that I can see our culture go to. And I think that excites me to keep doing this. And thank you again for taking the time, Daisy. Like I said, you share, and I'm sure, if you're still watching this, I know you're fired up. And Daisy, you shared some fire today. You shared some fire today for everybody. And like I said, one thing I love about when I do meet social media influencers, one thing I love about social media influencers, especially for you, one thing I love about you is whenever I meet a social media influencer, and who I see on social media is the exact same vibe and feeling I get when I meet you in person. If that makes sense, right? Yeah. Because I've been there. I've seen somebody on social media, and I thought they were like, everything was cool. But then when I met them in real life, I was like, oh my god, this person is a really terrible person. So whoa. I'm not judging anybody, but I've had that experience before where when I thought about somebody, but then when you meet people, on social media that, and then when you meet them in real person, oh my god, like you're exactly the person that I felt, and the vibes you got from social media. So when I got on your page, I felt that the energy, I felt that vibe, I felt that love, the laughter, the creativity, the creativity. So those feelings haven't changed. I felt that same thing right now when I met you. So for me, it's always I love that. People, like that's one of the coolest things I think whenever I meet fellow social media, exactly, influencers, because we're both doing the same thing in the same industry. We're both doing our thing in our own ways. So that's kind of cool. So everybody out there, so keep doing it. Keep doing you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You too.
I guess to end off this podcast, I always like to ask all my guests to end it off, if you would like to share some final thoughts to everybody, some final thoughts, some words of wisdom, some inspiration. After everything you've gone through your life and everything we talked about today, you can just share some final thoughts with everybody, and then we'll close it off with that.
Honestly, I just want to thank you, especially for even reaching out to me and asking me to even join this amazing podcast. Even just by the message that you want to send to everyone, like that is amazing, and it's only going to get better, guys. So for those who are listening or watching, you can do this. You could be in our positions right now. It's going to be in your hands. You will control your own life. If you want it, go for it. No one is stopping you. For someone who is, go right past them. Like, you've got this whole world right here. If you want to travel, go travel. You've got everything to see. Don't be afraid to live your life. As I said, YOLO. Literally. Live your life and be happy and be respectful and love one another. That's it from me.
Sounds great. All right, everybody that's watching, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for tuning in. But Daisy, I'm going to go ahead and press the stop button. I'm going to talk to you right after, okay? Give me 1 second.
Bye.
Bye. Give me 1 second.